"We're here, we're queer, get used to it" was a popular rally cry for many members of the LGBTQ community during the 1960s and 70s, and for good reason. After the Stonewall riots of 1969 and the gay liberation movements, the LGBTQ community enjoyed a greater level of visibility than ever before. Organizations such as the Human Rights Campaign and the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force brought the issue of LGBT rights to the political world, and pride marches around the country affirmed the fact that gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender Americans were no longer content to remain in the shadows of the closet. Unfortunately, this success would not last, and many of the important gains won during the past 2 decades would be lost in the coming 2. It all started in 1981, when 5 gay men from Los Angeles were diagnosed with a rare lung infection known as pneumocystis carinii pneumonia, also known as PCP. By the end of the year, over 250 gay men had been diagnosed with PCP or some other form of immune deficiency, and 121 of them had died as a result. Due to its prevalence in the gay community, the disease was first known as GRID, which stood for Gay-Related Immune Deficiency. By 1982, however, the disease had spread to heterosexual drug users, and as such, the CDC renamed the disease as Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome, or AIDS for short. The disease was not confined to America, however. By 1983, there were reported cases in both Europe and Africa, and by 1985, the disease existed on every continent besides Antarctica. By 1990, nearly twice as many Americans had died of AIDS as those who died in the Vietnam War. Scientists around the world toiled day and night trying to find a cure for the disease, but many other institutions were lackluster at best and downright cruel at worst when it came to support. The religious right, for example, used the death toll to push the claim that the disease was a sign from God, and politicians came together to establish laws prohibiting LGBT individuals from working in the military, giving blood, and immigrating to the United States. At one particular low point, then-President Ronald Reagan's press secretary laughed when asked about the president's tracking of the disease. But as Randy Schultz once wrote, the band played on and the community fought back. ACT UP, or the AIDS Coalition to Release Power, was formed in 1987 and gained recognition due to their letter-writing campaigns, demonstrations, and acts of civil disobedience. The AIDS Memorial Quilt, created by the Names Project, remains the largest folk community project in the world and represents over 48,000 individuals who passed away, and art from artists such as Keith Haring or Felix Gonzalez-Torres remind us of both the strength and the absolute sorrow of gay men during this time. Nowadays, members of the LGBTQ community live in a time where certain death doesn't await a majority of them. They enjoy a freedom that most people never thought would have ever happened. But as we make each stride towards more progressive and accepting society, it remains vitally important to remember those we have lost along the way.